Yeah, I mean that was a had to just be a really rough game for
Oh,
Freedom. You know, again, every game he's gone pull
yeah.
first, prepare for that cannon rush. The one time he doesn't do it,
That's so frustrating, man. Like, okay, think about the ways he's lost, okay? Game number one, it was a really weird game. He tried to do something a little bit weird and cheeky and throws opponent off. He ends up being in an okay-ish position. It looks like he may be able to eke out the win because it looks still relatively even, kind of a weird game. But he kind of gets out-controlled with the Blink Stalker micro and ends up losing because he doesn't get up to that healthy drone count. Game number two, a very, very aggressive play from SamuraiPanda. And you know what? It's looking like, you know what? Okay, Freedom, he's looking really good. He's looking really good. But he is fighting so hard, man. He's down to like 40 drones constantly throughout the majority of that game. And the only thing keeping him in that game was the macro. And eventually he's able to overpower his opponent through sheer macro. But dear Lord, he was fighting, man. He was in some seriously scary positions there. Um,
absolutely.
and game number three, again, it's the control. It's the early game aggression. And that's so frustrating to lose those games to that early game aggression because it can be so scary as a macro player to lose games to early game aggression because every single time there's even a light bit of pressure, you're just fearing for your life, man. And sometimes this is going to be one of those games, I think, maybe this game, I'm actually really afraid that Freedom is just going to get so worked up about it that maybe SamuraiPanda doesn't go for the all-in. He doesn't go for two-base all-in. He goes for some light pressure. And what happens when Freedom throws down 3-4 spine crawlers, sits on 38 drones against a two-base Protoss player that's putting on light aggression and taking a third behind it. And then the real push is the 17-minute follow push on 3 bases. That is what I'm really afraid of right now for Freedom.
Yeah, at this point, it's just, can he stay appropriately calm, and
Hmm.
not don't let the previous games get to him.
Exactly. But Damon, take it away, man. This could be match point.
This could be match point. This is, of course, everything is on the line for our good buddy here in the bottom right position. The orange Zerg, it is Freedom. If he loses this game, that's it. The series is over, and he loses Season 2 despite being the Season 1 champion and being just undefeated beast mode so far.
And just being an all-around baller, despite that, he may still end up losing. How upsetting would that be? But his opponent, spawning up in the top left-hand corner as the red Protoss player, currently up 2-1, upsetting all around with his fantastic and phenomenal micro. It is going to be Atraxia's Esports' SamuraiPanda.
Man, so what do you think here? What is SamuraiPanda going to do?
Well, he's going for the pylon in base, so I'm feeling a gateway expansion coming out over here. SamuraiPanda not going to do any kind of crazy fortune shenanigans, but you know what? I guarantee you, Freedom is going spawning full first this game. He is not going to mess around with that anymore.
Oh my, well, for thinking for SamuraiPanda, let's think of the immortal words of Artosis. The cheesiest play a cheesy player can do is play the macro game.
There are always those sayings of when ahead, get more ahead, and I like that play. You know what? SamuraiPanda, I feel like he needs to be careful about it. Because I'm not taking away from SamuraiPanda's late game and everything. I honestly don't think we've seen him really play for the late game in this series so far. But I really do feel like Freedom has shown that his macro, I think in a macro game, he's going to be feeling better about it. Regardless of whether or not SamuraiPanda does some kind of cheeky macro plays, I feel like maybe playing standard and going for a later push with like light pressure, kind of fake out your opponent like that, may be a good play. But I actually really wouldn't like to see SamuraiPanda play like a passive game by any means, where he kind of sits around and goes up to 4 bases and doesn't really mess with Freedom.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's one of those things where it seems like it's a good idea, just because Freedom is unlikely to expect it. But at the same time, you want to, especially in a tournament, you always want to do what you're comfortable with. It's when you move outside of what you've practiced and move outside of your comfort zone that you start taking silly losses.
Exactly, and we've seen that already, that SamuraiPanda is playing sort of, a little bit better in like the weird games or like the aggressive games, But as soon as Freedom was able to get into that macro mode, maybe the place that Samurai Panda just based on, and I wouldn't blame him considering his control is pretty damn good. Like, well, actually, hold all that thought and that talk, Damien, because right now these four Zergons, they're accomplishing a lot right now. They just kill off the Forge. They got to cancel. They kill off a probe. They're getting into the main base. There's a mothership core out, but these Zergons are going to do some nice damage.
At the very least, they'll get a pretty thorough scout. Oh, he's going to target the pylon. You know, I think he actually probably could have gotten it.
I don't know. I think it would have been really close, especially if even like just like a 1 or 2 probes got pulled off the line. I think it's better. I like the decision to just keep the probes or the Zergons alive because again, as you were saying, it's a nice scout. You could be annoying. I want to say you're taxing your opponent's APM, but let's be honest, it's Samurai Panda right now. He's not taxed right now.
He's got the APM to spare, and like really impressively, Freedom keeps every single one of those lings alive.
Yeah, actually, that's actually really, really awesome. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, he gets out of there with all of them.
And takes a fast third. We see the Robo coming down. You know what? I think we are going to see some variation of the Soul Train.
I don't hate it. Actually, you know what? I really like it. This map especially, it can work out really well or really poorly, depending on how prepared the Zerg player is for when the actual army is starting to arrive at your base. Because there's some great positions where a Protoss player can just get nice and comfy entrenched, like they just bought a sofa from IKEA and they're just saying, the sofa's so comfy, I think I'm just going to force field around here, and you can't do anything. But if you get caught out just before you get to the third expansion, you get caught out in a big open position, you could just lose your entire army instantly.
Yep, though with no additional gases taken, I actually think this might be an Immortal Zealot all-in. I'm a huge fan of this build.
Oh man, yeah, actually, that's a really good point right now. It's 7 minutes, and only just now is that second gas geyser being taken. What do you want to see out of Freedom? Because I mean, Freedom, he has the Overlords around. He sees +1 weapons researching,
but he hasn't seen the Robo. That's really the problem.
Yeah.
Now this Overlord that's up in the main, if he sees these additional gateways going down, and he uses his Overlord at the natural and sees the lack of additional gases, he should be able to figure out what's going on.
Well, he should actually see right now there is nothing mining out of that second gas geyser in the main base. That has got to be a tell. Either your opponent's making a big mistake, or there's something funky coming on.
Yep. Now, Freedom has seen this build before. I've done it to him several times. But he has never lost to it from me. So it all depends. I mean, the APM and micro of Panda is phenomenal. So if anyone can do it, I think he can. But it's going to be really tricky for Freedom to hold this. He needs to identify it, and he needs to engage correctly.
I think he's identified it, because you see a Spinecrawler already going down at the third expansion. Now, this honestly may even just be a, I don't care what you're doing, I know how you play, I'm going to get a Spinecrawler by third base, damn it. But I still feel like, you know what, I think that he's preparing. He's made a lot of roaches already. He's going to be able to actually anticipate a lot of these units from Samurai Panda. Samurai Panda doesn't actually have that many units, but there comes the Warp Prism and the Immortal going.
He's gonna drop in the main, or the natural, which is fantastic. He's just going to get some workers here.
Oh, has to be careful with that Warp Prism. That Warp Prism is actually so important. Now moving in with the Mothership Core to actually tank some shots also to give his Warp Prism a chance to start warping in.
Yep, and like here comes a whole bunch of Zealots warping in.
Oh, well, the Roaches are actually having a really difficult time getting on top of the Immortals. The Zealots are doing a great job, especially with +1 weapons. This is exactly the role that these Zergons need to do. And there's no real anti-air here anymore, so you can just pick up into that Warp Prism. Oh, pick up into the Warp Prism! Oh no,
he lost one of them, but he kept the second one alive, and there's still that Mothership Core there, and there's now 2 Warp Prisms.
Oh, whoa, this is actually some funky play. There were 2 Zealots actually at the third expansion that I feel like, Samurai Panda uncharacteristically kind of losing track of them just a little bit, had the opportunity to run in there during that push, and kind of had them sitting out idly, and I feel like, for the most part, Freedom is looking to be in a great position. He's held this off relatively well.
Yeah, I mean, he lost some workers, but not a huge number.
Only 2 workers actually lost.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, that really, Freedom held that about, especially with it being weird and, like, not a push across the map, but just a drop and a warp in.
Yeah.
He held that really well. But that is very much in Samurai Panda's style of play. He likes to do those immortal drops. He's done it against Freedom in the past, so Freedom should even be prepared for the follow-up drop that I think is coming.
Yeah, I think this is going to be not even... Maybe, like, of course, there's drop coming out across the map, but I feel like Freedom is just trying to... Or, sorry, Samurai Panda is just trying to buy himself time, and actually he's doing a great job. Look at the army was halfway across the map, and now they're pulling back for these 2 Immortals, just because he knows the potential of the Warpins. But losing the Warp Prism, he's going to lose the Mothership Core, he's going to lose the Immortals, he's going to lose everything here.
Yeah, those Immortals, he cannot afford to lose, because he's trapped on 2 bases now. I mean, he has another Immortal, but... So what? That's one. The second one's coming, but...
Robotics Bay is going down, but Damon, there is no way that a Protoss player takes a 3rd expansion after losing all of that. That is a very, very expensive army. I think that right now, Freedom, he has the right idea. He's getting Infestation Pit and Inspired, because guess what? You know what your opponent can't do when they lose all those units? Be very aggressive.
Well, and also, very importantly, you know, he knows that there weren't... that he saw some Immortals and a bunch of Zealots. So he says, you know what those units can't do? Shoot up. Let's build some Mutalisks.
I think that's a great point. And Infestation Pit and Spire is going to give him the opportunity to build Mutalisks. And you know what? If there are a lot of Stalkers being warped, and guess what? He can always just transition out into Swarm Hosts, into Infestors, or into whatever he really needs. So even just getting up that Hive Tech. I honestly... You know, I'm trying to decide right now if I would like to even just see him take a 4th expansion right now, just because...
I do feel like he's got enough money, it feels like the right decision to make, he can afford it.
Oh, actually, yeah, he does have a lot of money right now. Is he saving up for Mutalisks?
I believe so.
Oh, he does. He has a lot of... Oh, okay, well, you know, this is the patented, tried and true, most common map for Swarm Hosts in the entire world. But these Swarm Hosts are not actually going to be coming out in time, I feel. I feel like they're going to be popping out right around the time that Protoss army gets into that golden position by the 3rd. Oh. Well, the army's now coming in over here. The Spine Crawlers, they're situating themselves up pretty nicely. And Samurai Panda, he's getting into a very, very good position.
Oh, he loses the 2 Swarm Hosts for free before they can even burrow.
Nice flanking maneuver coming out from these Roaches. Once again, Freedom with the burrow play. Gonna buy himself a little bit more time, but is it gonna be enough that there's only 2 Swarmos over here at this 3rd expansion? Actually, it is. He buys himself time. He keeps that 3rd expansion alive.
And very intelligently, Samurai Panda is taking the 3rd on the left-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
And these Roaches, will do a little bit of damage, but they won't be able to deny this.
And Damon, I know you're a big Day 9 fan, but this is something that I think Day 9 has reiterated time and time again. Take the expansion. If you have this big, scary army of, say, Immortals and Sentries and stuff, if you want to take those big main engagements, take an expansion along the line that you're attacking on. And as you were saying, it's such a smart decision. The expansion from Freedom, the 3rd expansion that he's trying to assault, is on the left side of the map. So take the expansion on the left side of the map. It makes it so much easier for you to be aggressive while also being able to pull back to defend.
Yeah, and God, this Warp Prism that's moving along the right side of the map, it's going to go into the main, and there's nothing here to deal with this.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is one of the problems when you go for Swarmos. You don't have that mobility, and the Locusts are not going to be coming over to that 3rd expansion. So, now that I'm thinking about Swarmos, they're pretty damn good at those main engagements. So maybe Samurai Panda... not entirely prepared for the Swarm Hosts.
Oh, and God, he warps in, of course, a sentry at the top of the ramp, force fields the ramp off, so now Freedom can't send any units up into his main. He does, however, pick off the Warp Prism, which is huge.
Oh, man, that's actually so frustrating. Yeah, that sentry also going to lose its life over there to the Queens. And
a couple of Zealots are still working, though, in the middle line.
Oh my God, did he actually just pick up... Did he pick off a Spine Color or a Spire? He killed off the Spire! That's actually huge! Think about this right now, Damon. We have almost 2,000 gas. Imagine Freedom gets out one last round of Larva Injects. Actually, he doesn't even need another round of Larva Injects. Let's just say he made 20 Mutalisks right now. He just goes over that army, kills off all the Stalkers and the Colossus. I think he just wins that if he had that Spire.
Yep, of course now the Swarm Hosts are laying siege to the natural of Samurai Panda. This is a rough position to be in. Because he's got him recontained. He's back on 2 bases. He's got Colossus. He's got Immortals. He's got those power units. But Freedom's just trading locusts. Like, that's fantastic for him. And I don't even think there are any observers out.
Oh. Oh, okay, there is one observer. It's actually sitting right on top of the swarm host, so he's actually okay on that front, it looks like. But with a Spire coming back up, I feel like there is a timer right now for SamuraiPanda. Oh, actually picking off these swarm hosts, that actually might be a really, really nice win.
Yep, yeah, and I mean, he's gonna get these.
God.
I don't think there's really any question about that.
Yeah,
but Freedom, man, he needs that Spire to hurry up and finish so that he can hit that Mutalisk button and just hold it down.
Oh my god, I hope that he breaks his T button right now, but no! He's making more swarm hosts. Damon, I really don't agree with this decision from Freedom.
Yeah, I think it's the wrong choice to make, and oh god, he's moving his spines, but what are they gonna do? Like, they're burrowing, they're just gonna die.
The problem right now is that SamuraiPanda has a scary army right this second. And right now, Freedom has to come up with an army that can defend now. The swarm hosts are great if you can get them into an entrenched position. You can be aggressive with them. It's hard to be a little bit defensive with them because the army can just walk around you sometimes. But they also don't defend right now. They defend in a couple of minutes.
Yep, and Freedom is at serious risk of losing his third here. I mean, he was in such a commanding position.
Oh my god.
Up that natural, but this third's just going to get picked off. And Freedom is in real trouble.
SamuraiPanda, he was not the favorite coming into this. We were thinking, how many games is SamuraiPanda gonna be able to take off of Freedom before he actually just ends up winning the entire damn thing? But no, SamuraiPanda, he's up 2-1. He's one game away from taking the grand finals over here. Corruptors are coming out, and Freedom is fighting for his life over here, but he just lost almost all of his mining expansions.
Yep, now I think he's gonna clean up these Colossus without too much difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
And he's taken out all of the observers that are nearby, so his swarm hosts should push the rest of this back. And this is actually some expensive losses for SamuraiPanda.
Yeah, the thing is Freedom still had that big bank, right? Whether he was using it on a Mutalisk or not, he had a huge bank, and he was able to actually pump out all those Corruptors and take out a lot of the expensive units, as you were saying. But the problem is right now, we have Freedom. Yeah, he has 53 drones. That's awesome. That's a relatively healthy drone count. They're mining off of half an expansion. It's not even a full expansion. It's half of an expansion right now. He cannot afford to replenish that bank again.
Yep, and I mean, Freedom's trying to take a ninja expansion in the top right, but it's been spotted. These Stalkers and Zealots are just going to shut it down immediately.
SamuraiPanda has established, he's got his third expansion up. As long as he can just stop these swarm hosts and these corruptors from pushing across the map and just killing that third expansion, I really like SamuraiPanda's position over here. He's going to pick off these swarm hosts. He does need to get into position to defend that third soon, though.
Yeah, I mean, those corruptors, he knows it's there. He's got the overseers ready, so those corruptors will basically instantly snipe any observers foolish enough to head over there.
That's a really good point, actually. Those corruptors could work out really, really well. That's actually going to make it very, very difficult to pick off these swarm hosts. And now the swarm hosts going after that third expansion, they pick off the pylons and everything. They're going to expire over here, and that is going to give SamuraiPanda time to get into position. But
and I think there's a small zealot push trying to come in on the right by take down the destructible rocks. Of course, those should be adequate spines and defenses to deal with that. Oh man, those swarm hosts almost got caught out of position there.
Yeah, very, very scary moment. The observer is also there. The corruptors need to get on top of that and reposition themselves a little bit, but the swarm hosts are starting to do some nice damage to this third expansion, and especially with the roaches coming in, the roaches are going to be the sustainable damage that I think Freedom needs to take out this third.
Yeah, it's actually really good because he can use the swarm hosts to kind of push the stalkers back from his main force. Oh man, this is becoming a lot of zealots. All right, Freedom's seen it. He's already got some locusts queued up there.
Locusts are nice, and the Spinecrawlers are going to be able to buy some time, but I mean, these Zealots, I honestly think there needs to be more of a defense over here.
Freedom's going to need to use these Queens, get some transfuses down, something.
Oh! One of the Queens has already fallen. It looks like he may be able to clean up these Zealots with the additional DPS of these Queens, but I feel like a round 2 or something could be a little bit scary. I think the big advantage, though, that Freedom has going for him is I don't know if there's actually going to be enough resources for a round 2. SamuraiPanda, after losing that third, he's down to actually not mining. He's mining off of 3 mineral patches. One of those mineral patches has 10 Actually, all of these mineral patches have about 10 minerals left.
Yeah, there is, of course, another third being attempted to be built by SamuraiPanda.
Mm-hmm. And nice cancel off from SamuraiPanda on that hatchery. He's going to be able to deny mining a little bit, but those zealots get cleaned up. And yeah, he has that third going up, but honestly,
Yeah,
is it going to come up in
there's no
time?
income right now.
Yeah. And you look at Freedom. Yeah, he's not mining that much either. He's kind of mining off of that half-third expansion. But he has a bank of 1,200 gas, 2,000 minerals, and he has a big, scary army. Things are really looking in Freedom's favor right now. This game has been so back and forth, though.
The only thing I'm concerned with is I think Freedom's building more corruptors, and all of his army supply is basically in those corruptors right now.
You know, I don't actually hate this decision that much, because think about it right now from Freedom's position. He says, or actually, sorry, not even Freedom's position. Think about it from SamuraiPanda's position. What is the one way that you can maybe lose? Is if you lose your big army, right? Because you're up hugely on economy, right? And you're establishing those expansions. You have the roaches to defend against these zealot run-bys. You can out-econ your opponent. So also one way you can lose if your opponent gets up enough Colossus, they can get on top of those Swarmos and just murder you. But if you get up enough Corruptors, I mean, you saw that last time that SamuraiPanda took the engagement. You just kill off those Colossus, and the Blitzstalkers just cannot engage those Locusts.
Yep. Unfortunately, a quick Zealot run-by from SamuraiPanda did take out Freedom's fourth again.
Wow, that's actually really, really annoying. Now, he does actually have another expansion as his fifth expansion over in the center location. I think it's going to be a little bit easier to defend, but the Swarmos are actually pretty out of position. Or sorry, the Colossus are pretty out of position to deal with the Swarmos right now at the natural expansion.
I do like a single burrowed drone is denying that top right base from SamuraiPanda.
Oh, that's so cute. That's so adorable. I love that.
Forcing the long-distance mining while Freedom comes and basically just wrecks the infrastructure. Gets it. There's no robos now.
There's 4 observers on the map, so he's okay on that front, but there's only 2 Colossus, and those 2 Colossus, they're going to die pretty damn fast to, what, 17 Corruptors?
I think Freedom has recognized that he probably has enough Corruptors and is starting to rebuild Roaches, which I think is a reasonable choice, and a lot of Spine Crawlers.
Yeah, I think that the Spine Crawlers are a great decision, because at this point, I mean, there's not really much of an economy left over SamuraiPanda. Just stop him from being able to try and trade, like, a base trade cost-effectively or something, or do any kind of crazy shenanigans. Blitzstalkers are coming in over here. They're being actually pretty effective right now. A lot of the Spine Crawlers behind the hatchery. I feel like this expansion may very well go down, but the Locusts are going to be able to take out the last mining base of SamuraiPanda.
Yep, yeah, I think Panda's going to try to reestablish over on the right where those Colossus are.
I don't know, man. That's pretty close to the Swarmos even then. Well, Greater Spire actually going up. Once again, I do want to note, Freedom has the bank right now.
Yep.
If he actually gets a Broodlords, that's...
And he kept that base alive.
Oh my god. Wow, that's actually a really nice win over there.
Big engagement on top of the Swarm hosts.
The Stalker's going after Corruptors, but I have to back up.
Well, the Corruptors, of course, very quickly took out the Observer that was there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Well, there's still 3 Observers left over. The Roaches get picked off over here. SamuraiPanda, he has a decently sized Stalker army. It's just, it's not big enough. Yeah, he doesn't have a big enough army to engage the Swarm hosts, and he doesn't have enough money to try and power it out and just keep macroing up. So the longer that he waits, the further behind he gets.
Now, what he's got going in his favor is I think he took out all the Overseers.
Oh.
So...
Oh, that's nice. Okay, so his Observers are going to be safe for a little bit.
That means those Swarm hosts are in danger.
Yeah, they could actually be in danger right now, but a wave of Locusts now going to be popping out. Blinkstalker control. Once again, as you can expect from SamuraiPanda, pretty good, not losing any more of those. And these Locusts are actually... the Swarmos are actually trapped in the main base.
Yeah, they're in a lot of trouble here. Freedom, hopefully, is going to start building, a traditional army.
You know what? I still don't actually hate this for Freedom, because right now, it's really weird to say this. He's going to lose all the Locusts, or sorry, the Swarmos, but I think it's worth it. Because right now, even picking off a couple of Stalkers is nice, but he's also keeping these Stalkers at home. These Stalkers should, in this kind of situation where literally SamuraiPanda is not mining, they should be killing off, picking off expansions, halting the mining of Freedom. But they're not. They have to deal with these swarm hosts. And all of the stalkers have gone down. Yeah.
2 stalkers made it out.
And 1 probe, 2 stalkers, that's not enough. Freedom gonna even up the game and the series 2-2.
Man.